Hello everyone, and welcome back to Wargame Red Dragon. We have another match for you today in the Knights and Squires 2v2 tournament. This was the first of the best of three played between Team Rara and Team Kattivalk, who was Artemis on the Red 4 team. And I have with me today to help with the recording Deep Sea Sasha, who is another one of the Knights in the Knights and Squire tourney. We'll cover those games, I'm sure, relatively soon. Sasha, you want to introduce yourself and say what you're thinking as these openers get underway?
Hello, I'm Sasha. Glad to be looking at this match, and I did play in this tournament.
So,
and yeah, you go ahead.
We have on the red side, we have, it looks like Entente Mech, and we have USSR, while as on blue side, we have Eurocore and I believe DGC. What do you think? 1v1 Patty as a 2v2 with those decks. What do you expect to see?
Well, it's a very Patty feels high density, and these are on 2v2. It's even more high density. So I expect to see lots of artillery. I expect teams to have MLRS at least some kind, or heavy artillery. It's gonna come down to who brings that, in my opinion, generally. But maybe something else will happen.
No, that's fair. That's a really good point. And the other thing that I'm really interested in seeing, Rara has a reputation as a double super heavy sort of team game player, I would say, and we do see that here with the double Leclerc, and I don't really see much of an answer to it on the field right now. So I think another big determining factor is going to be whether or not Red can deal with those Leclercs. Double BV, triple BV, that could do it, but I mean, each one of these tanks, they're only 17 front, they're only 20 AP. Like, I don't really like that matchup 3 versus 2. What do you think?
You can't take it at max range, but if you do get the ATGM trick in with them, it's not. You can definitely take a good ship out of the clears and back up before losing T64 BV. Or if it's like a mid-range engagement, you could just trade free. You could trade them out.
That is fair. I do like this from blue right now. Leclerc's rotating over to hit those M84As, but they need to get a kill, or that will effectively just be chip damage on the Leclerc's in that BV fight. And Red is pushing really good pressure right now on Triangle Forest. That could be used later on to wedge the town engulf. Oh, Thermomig? Okay. Not really sure I like that. Oh. Never mind. Oh, no.
Wow. Oh.
High level
really
gameplay here, but yeah, it really, like, this sort of thing is why you have screening units. It's why you have... Oh, and the BV? No, okay. Double miss off the Milan too. It's why you need to have screening units. And I gotta say, like, this square push from blue seems to have really opened up... Look at the map right here. There's just such a huge gap in Red's lines. That's just really horrible.
Yeah, but I don't like what the VAB did, honestly. He went to the spawn, which is super high risk, high reward. Like, you shouldn't expect that to work. If he just kills the 2 tours, that might as well be almost game winning.
You're right, and that was definitely... I mean, it was a good thing for Kattivalk / Artemis here to get the tours away from that, so it was nice recognition there. Everything just went in a different direction. And then having both of those alive can definitely help later on. I'd like to see... It looks like right now, just Entente Mech got a little bit blown out. I want to see if we can take a look at Serbian Eagles. Oh, yeah. Not much left here at all. Holy cow.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious how he took such a bad engage. Like, it should just play safe in the forest behind the Thermomig. Like, it should take longer, but...
Yeah, well, I feel like we looked away. Like, we were watching the M84s, we were watching the Leclercs, and Bravo just sort of... Once blue started pushing, they just never stopped pushing, right? So, dead 2-point CV... I think I get a bit of a feeling as to why this game, you know, we started pretty far in and we don't have all that much longer to go. If Red doesn't do something to win this game fast, then I think we know where we're headed. What do you think about that?
Yeah, like, the more I think about it, I really love the BV M84 opening, but they have to work together from a triangle in Bravo Forest to, like, force side shots on the Leclercs if they expose themselves, but they didn't coordinate like that well enough.
Nice tours.
The Leclercs just rotated, as you pointed out earlier.
So what you're saying with the BV M84A is, like, if you can get these to work together so that you always have, you know, one angle here, no matter which way the Leclercs face, they're taking incoming fire to the side. Is that sort of what you're talking about?
Yeah, and the BVs even get Agonas, so the clears can be pretty far down golf if there's line of sight.
That's a good point. That's a good point. And those things smack with 22 AP power. It's not a small missile. That's for certain. And I mean, it is worth remembering here as well that Leclerc's are relatively fragile as far as super heavies go. They do have 21 front. Oh, what? What was that? Is that a double miss followed by turning off the missiles? Interesting. It's an interesting tactic. If it has more missiles, if it doesn't waste them on a 5-point box, it'll take less time for that 27M to be ready again. And they need that because look at this, BVPs are the only thing really between Blue 4 and the Red 4's spawn, right? Like, this is just... I feel like Blitzwar would be just saying disaster for this.
I'm curious where the golf push field now. Like, it should have worked. Like, if he just pushed his infantry up into the town with some 5-spore and smoking the Milans, he takes that.
Well, so if we look here, there's only one T-64 BV left, and I think one of them was picked off by a plane. It seems maybe another one might have been lost to these Milan 2s, and I think it's a little bit understandable for the red team to lose track of that push while all of this is going on. So like, I hear what you're saying, right? If blue is strong over here, then they're weak over here, and red had a full opener on that side. But it's almost like sometimes that there's a cost to getting pushed somewhere where, like, if you don't realize immediately you can take advantage of this, it ends up just sort of falling apart. You ever experienced that?
Yeah, it's hard to do, but like, I don't know. Well, whoever the knight is, maybe could have said something on that.
Artemis. So Artemis Kattivalk, that's the knight. So the red 4 knight is Artemis, and the red 4 squire is the private Serbian Eagle 1331. Now, Artemis is actually an alt for Kattivalk, who I believe Kattivalk is colonel in ranks. So, yeah.
I'm not trying to sound too critical. I'm not saying they didn't do anything. I'm just interested, like, why it didn't work out.
Yeah, and
since ideally, like, they would have success there, but for some reason it didn't. And I guess the clears got some good trades in, and something else picked off a BB and whatnot.
Yeah, and then after that, a lot of the points have been pulled off over here. So if we take a look right now, Artemis is supplying Zanchi. Artemis is supplying. Oh, this is not USSR. This is red. Pion, Proletaries, everything like that. I think part of the answer to your question, and it is a hard thing doing these replays to not sound critical. I've had the same thought myself many times because it ends up just being like this was a mistake, that was a mistake, etc. Like, I think it's fine. Mistakes are mistakes. We're not saying it because we're trying to pick on one person or the other, but I think here we have our explanation looking at the points distribution. How many reinforcements for Artemis have come over into Foxtrot after the opener? Because I really don't think it's that many, right? I think most of those points went to trying to stem the tide in Charlie, which is a decision that I agree with. Because even if this golf push that you're talking about works, unless Charlie is retaken, this game's just over.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of irrelevant if they can't find a way to deal with the clears. Like, that's the principal problem.
Right.
They don't rotate for any push.
Right, and the 27M...
That's why they needed the coordination.
Yeah, and 27M is one answer to that. Oh man, it hurts to see these guys just in the open ground. You always have to be careful attack moving infantry in situations like this because these guys have 0 damage reduction. They're not even in the woods, they're not in the town block. Yeah, that sort of movement is what they need to be doing to get into a position where they can fight without being just, you know, out-traded by worse infantry because the worse infantry has better damage reduction. Yeah, so MI-35, MI-25, oh no. No. Oh, that's gonna be painful. At least it wasn't side. Yeah, that's something. I think it's also worth pointing out here, we have a CV coming in from Rara, and it's going into Charlie first, so he's actually ignored Alpha Bravo Golf, and I like this, because this is +2. It ends the game faster. And blue right now doesn't really need to end the game super quickly because they have so much map control. So keeping that pressure on instead of buying 3 or 4 different CVs before this mark, I think was a really good decision. And then buy it when you feel a bit more confident they're going to be able to maintain that. Oh, here it is. No, there it goes. Oh my god. Only one hit on the 27M on, from the 27M on those Leclercs. Oh.
Yeah, that's rough.
Well, I mean, 30 AP missiles, right? That's a double tap is a kill.
Mm-hmm.
Man. So we do have at least one more game in this best of 3, and I'm hoping we'll see some things swing back here, because I've played with Artemis / Kattivalk many times before, and they're a really good player. And I've seen Serbian Eagle play, I've seen Papa Pingo play. Like, all of the participants, I would say, in this tourney are exceptional players, and it feels to me as though a really well put together push into and through Bravo at the start just sort of caught Red off guard. And as much as the opener is important in 1v1, in 2v2 on small maps, and this is a small map, Sasha, like you were saying earlier, it's very dense gameplay. The opener can just determine the entire game sometimes.
Yeah, like if one side just has a really bad opener and gets run over, then they get run over.
Yeah, so if you imagine, if red and blue trade evenly from this point out, it doesn't help red enough, right? Because the opener put them in a position where they need more, so...
I don't know if I've ever seen a +5 on this map that was like a real game.
Yeah, I'm not sure I have really either, because by that point, usually one team or the other does surrender. But actually, I understand why red hasn't, and you have to go back to what the intention of this tourney was, right? Because this is not like a high-level competitive play for the point of competitive play tourney. This is ultimately a training tourney where knights are going to help their squires, or the more experienced player is going to help the lesser experienced player improve their gameplay. And so playing in this crisis mode is actually something I like that the red team continued, and it's just playing it out and playing it through, because dealing with crises like these can make you a better player. Even if it's not successful every time, learning how to keep your head in this sort of situation is very, very valuable.
Yeah, although specifically on Pattyfield, if your enemy takes over Charlie like this, it's like trying to take over Stalingrad.
Yeah, that's true. It's a very hard fight. Although, with that said, I mean, Proletary are finally getting in, if not for the amount of tick, which now is up to a +6, as blue has decided to cap a couple of their zones. I think red, over the course of a full 40-minute game, might be able to reclaim this. Base Proletary at mech veterancy are very, very cost-effective fighters, so,
Yeah, like, there's a way to get back in, like where you put the Proletarian, and you just keep on feeding infantry in through there.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. Damage on the Panzergren already, there's fresh Proletary here. I expect this will make some progress, it's just a little bit too little too late, which is really a shame to see. Yeah. But
I
hey,
also
I mean...
like the triple stack twos.
Yeah, actually that's a really good point. This is usually a really bad decision, because if you imagine in an even trading situation, or anything near even, or even board position, then the Mista or other arty like that can punish this sort of concentration of units, because yeah, it's just 60 points, but it's 3 of your ATGM cards, and availability ends up constricting that over the course of a game, right? So nice comment there. I think it would be a good thing to not see this as time goes on from Pingo, just because it's not very positionally effective. So trading 2570 to 1600, really rough game there for red. And I'm hoping as we get into game 2 that we see some surprises from the red team. I think they're definitely capable of it, and we have a lot to look forward to. Sasha, thank you for joining me for this replay. It's been a pleasure having you on, and I hope that we can keep this going through the set with Rara and Kattivalk.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
Alright, and we'll see you guys around real soon.